I'm Lori Meggs.
And I'm Bill Hupsher. Welcome to Focus on Marshall.
Our mission is to give you a glimpse into the many labs and test facilities that make up the Marshall Space Flight Center.
At Marshall, we have the expertise and capabilities to make it all happen, from labs to groundwork to flight. Today, we're at the East Test Area, where they have a variety of test stands and test cells, primarily used for propulsion research and verification.
As a matter of fact, they're preparing for 1/10 scale solid rocket motor firing right now. Let's go check it out. We're here with Collie Kellett in the test firing control room. Hi, Collie. Thanks for being with us today. Tell me what's going on here in the test area.
Today we're firing a subscale solid rocket motor in support of the reusable solid rocket motor that launches the shuttle.
And this is just one test that's done in this area, right?
In the test area, yes. We support many different types of tests. We do high-altitude tests with vacuum chambers. We do cold flow component tests with either ambient or cryogenic fluids and gases. We do hot fires with full vehicle fuel systems and engines, or we do combustion device, which is a component level of those things, plus we support the solid rocket motor.
So a lot of capabilities. Let's talk about the test in particular today. Tell me about what all these people in here are doing.
Okay. Steve Adams and I kind of run this test together. This is the test conductor's station. He has the test procedure. He gives the instructions when it's appropriate, makes the appropriate checks, and then gives the instructions, and the test proceeds as we go.
But what I really want to know is, who gets to push the button?
That brings us to the control station here. These people are in control of everything that happens. All the valves, all the signals, all the triggers. They won't let us engineers push the button. The control people like to keep that to themselves. Greg Wirt, my man here, he's my button pusher.
And which button is it exactly?
This one right here.
Oh, it says fire too. I would know exactly what to punch. As we get ready for this solid rocket motor test today, the one question that I have is, are we safe in this building? Tell me about this building.
Sure. As you look at the walls around us, you notice the very small windows. They're about 8 inches thick, for lack of a better term, bulletproof glass. The walls themselves are 18 inches thick, reinforced concrete. It will stand 4 psi, pounds per square inch overpressure, which is like a bomb goes off outside without effect inside. So that's why this is called a blockhouse, why it's very expensive to build, but it's necessary to meet the safety requirements.
Okay. Anything else you want to tell us?
I guess not. You've covered it very well.
All right. Well, can I push the button now, though?
Sure. Get out of the way, Greg.
And take us down and show us, well, starting here. What is this, sir?
Okay. This is a nozzle. Can you swing around and look at that? That's a nozzle, which is just a way to control the plume of the flame coming out, and that's a heat shield. We don't really care about the nozzle on this motor. The heat shield merely protects the instrumentation on the dome. That's where those 3 candidate materials and the 1 baseline material are insulated the inside to keep the flame off the metal. To support that test, we have 2 lengths of motor, which gives a long, it's called L over D, length over diameter of the bore of the propellant versus the length. So more length in a fixed nozzle means higher thrust and or longer duration, depending on how you match the 2 together. So sometimes we do a single length. In this case, we did a double length.
Okay. What's those we have further down here? Now, this is part of the actual test facility here, right? This is obviously for the length of the propellant and the
blue is theirs, the red is ours. And this is thrust measurement right here. We have 3 load cells. When this fires and pushes this way, we can tell how hard it pushes. So this is kind of a versatile test stand. We may fire the, hope to fire the crew escape motor. It's sort of round, it's sort of long, it kind of fits. So we're 95% ready to test it as we're configured. We'll just have to let RSM wait a little while we do that.
Something tells me we'll be back out here to visit you again when that goes up.
Well, that'd be great. Love to have you.
Thanks a lot for having us out here. It was a blast, so to speak. We've got lots more to show you out here at Marshall.
We're here at the Payload Operations Center with Lamar Stacy, a Payload Operations Director. And Lamar, it looks like we're in something of a mission control room.
Yes, we are. This is the, you could call it the Mission Control Center, but this is our Payload Operations Center that we use to support science on board the International Space Station, and we've been operating continuously out of this facility for the last 5 years. We'll be marking our 5th anniversary this month.
Wow, so what kinds of things do you do in this room?
We're responsible for making sure that we have put together a plan to conduct the science operations for all the U.S. payloads on board the International Space Station, that we have the resources in place, such as the crew time, the power, the video, the data downlink, and all the storage items that we need to operate the science and to get the scientists their results they're looking for.
About how much science are we doing on the space station?
Well, today with only 2 crew members on orbit at any given time, we're getting on the average over the duration of an increment, which is 6 months long, about 5 to 6 hours per week. When we get 3 crew members back on board space station again, we'll expect to see that number rise to perhaps as high as 15.
Tell me a little bit about the people in this room and what they do. I know they're sometimes referred to as a 3rd crew member on the space station. Tell me what that means.
Well, that means the folks here on the ground are working closely with the crew to make sure that all the science is accomplished, and that includes bringing down the video, the data, operating the racks, and having clear communications with the crew, which is what this position, our PACOM, our payload communicator, does for us.
All right, and we got Scotty, Dave Scotty over here, right?
Hi,
Scotty.
Captain.
You actually talk to the astronauts, right?
Yes, and I have a very good time doing that.
You build a relationship with them, right?
Yes, and we try to do that in when we have crew training in Houston. We'll go down and facilitate the session, take notes of action items or things like that. Get a little bit of what we call FaceTime, get to know them a little bit, and then as an increment progresses, you just start getting to know people and they get to start to know you.
Now, is it official business always, or do you get to really cut up with them sometimes? I know you like to cut up.
Well, there are times when we get to loosen up a little bit. Particularly, sometimes we do some little extra things on Saturday, and there'll be a little bit of free time, but just have some light banter back and forth.
Yeah, you have 6 months, and maybe at the beginning you kind of know these people, but at the end they're like family, right?
That's about the size of it. It takes a few weeks typically for everybody to get loosened up and into what's going to work for this round, and then things just develop from there.
Can you tell them I said hi?
Not right now, they're in free sleep.
Wake them up. It's okay, Scotty. Thank you. And tell me about some of the other positions around here.
Okay, well, sitting up here at the front of the room, we have our lead increment scientist representative who takes care of making sure we meet all the science goals of the increment. And on the other side of the room here at the front, we have our payload rack officer who makes sure that all the racks in the board space station are properly providing power and other resources to operate the experiments. And then standing here behind, or seated here behind me, we have our OC, our operations controller, which makes sure that our activities for today and tomorrow are prepared, that we have the procedures in place and all the activities ready to perform the science operations. And in the back of the room, we have the data management coordinator who makes sure that we get all of the data and the video and the photography from the science to the ground and distributed to the payload developers. After all, it'd be fruitless to do all this work and not get them the valuable data that we've collected for them.
And that says a lot, too. You work real closely with people all around the world, right?
Absolutely. Scientists all across the U.S. and into Europe, and we've had 1 or 2 payloads from Japan, and as the space station grows, we'll be working more and more directly with both the Europeans and the Japanese.
And they contact you when they want to find out something about their experiment, right, and how it went, maybe?
As long as those payloads are operating in the U.S. segment or they're utilizing U.S. assets, we would be the come-to point. We would be the person that they would be talking to.
And there's one man in charge, right? Or woman sometimes.
Absolutely. At any given time, we have our payload operations director here on console who's taking care to make sure that everyone in this control center is performing their job, and they are the point of authority for the flight director. They're a member of the flight director's team at MCC, and they're our point of commitment to say, yes, sir, we are ready to go.
And you've done this job a lot, too.
I've done it for the last 5 years for International Space Station and hope to be doing it for many more.
Sounds like you guys are going to be around a while.
Oh, we plan to. We like to see Space Station become fully functional, to go to assembly complete with both European modules, the Japanese modules, and the Russian science module, and to be ready to go to support science 100%.
I want a job as a PACOM. Can I do that? I want to talk to the astronaut.
There is a certification process you could go through to do that, as long as you've got the right technical background, and that's how we get folks into this job. We look for those with the right technical background, engineering, science related, others if they qualify, and go through a certification process, which includes simulations that we use another room for that looks much like this one. And basically we throw them in there and throw lots of problems at them and see if they're ready to cope and know how to follow the right processes and procedures.
I'll keep that in mind, Lamar. Thanks so much for having us out today. This is a lot of interesting stuff that you have going on here at Marshall.
Well, you're welcome, and we look forward to having you back for our 10-year anniversary.
Well, those are a couple of really great capabilities here at Marshall.
And there's so many more to see. Find out where we show up next as we focus on Marshall.